We
I'm gonna
know.
start, like, over here.
No, but it's. And do we know if we're live or not?
I don't know anything.
Oh, are we live?
I don't think so. I think
It changed everything.
There we go.
Oh,
There we go.
okay. Now we're live. Hey guys, welcome to Finance Friday. Oh, I really wish there was no camera here. Maybe I put some makeup on. Finance Friday is the show where we transform your relationship with your money by giving you the information you need to grow and protect your wealth. I am Amy Novakovich. This is Ryan.
Hey, everyone.
Follow us on Twitter at Nova Wealth Management. Management's abbreviated MGMT. Share this out because we're going to give a ton of good tips today about identity theft. We didn't go live on my personal page, right? Like we did last time? No, Nova. But for some reason it did not pop up to share it out.
And when it does, it's going to be loud. So brace yourselves.
I'm so predictable at screwing up technology.
Yeah.
So we actually have compiled a bunch of tips for you to keep your identity safe, because not only is it not enough for us to be dealing with a virus and sickness, and not enough to be dealing with an economic shutdown, and not enough to be dealing with a stock market crash.
There's still scumbags out there.
There's still these terrible human beings out there that still want to just make your life turn it completely upside down.
Yeah.
So what's happening is texts have been attacked. Not only email's the normal one, but phone. They will call you in the midst of all this IRS stuff. Why can't I share this, Ryan?
So
it should pop up right
so go
there.
Back to your home.
No, you just talk. I'll figure it out.
We plan on doing this, and 10 minutes before we came in to do this, I got a text message.
Yeah, read it exactly what it says.
That says, "Congrats.
There we are.
You're the Walgreens survey number 8510 giveaway winner. Redeem your $75 plus gift. Get here." And there's a hyperlink, and it says expires soon. Reply stop to opt out.
That's insane.
And I'll even admit, when it popped up and it was like, congrats, I was like, ooh. But then I was like, wait a minute. I didn't do a survey. So there's no way that I want a survey. But I was like, this is like perfect timing, because this is one of the things that these scammers are doing, is they try to, use.
Even Apple, like text messaging.
Yeah.
I saw one sample when I was looking for this stuff. They will send you a text message claiming to be Apple, claiming to reset your Apple ID. Mm-hmm. And apparently Apple will not text you to just reset randomly your Apple ID. It would be like when you go into your Apple ID, it would say, oh, you need to reset this or whatever. But they won't text you to just randomly reset your ID. Or
even like email. But yeah, like in Walgreens is a place I go to often. It's, everyone uses Walgreens or CVS or some type of drugstore. Mm-hmm. And so, a lot of people will be like, oh my gosh, I go to Walgreens. Maybe I just won a prize, and so
maybe
then
I was entered into a drawing.
So then you click on it, and, when you click on things like that, especially if you're on a desktop or a computer, they can put malware and things into your computer that they can then track your computer. So when you get things that, if it sounds or seems too good to be true, it usually is.
But with that being said, though, there are some specific tips and steps that we have for you to just avoid all of this, because I think the number one tip is, if you weren't expecting it, question it. Yeah. Okay. So that's tip number one. So especially with like email, if you weren't expecting it and somebody sends you like, hey, click on this link, just question it. We're not saying it's definitely a scam, but we're saying you need to at least just question it. Start to, call the phone numbers and definitely double check it before you click on anything, because that's the number one way that they can now gain access to your computer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you get an email from somebody, it's, always better to be safe than sorry. If someone emails you and says, hey, you need to fill out this link, leave that email or that text box or whatever that is, and go back and email the person, the contact you have, and try to reach out that way, or call, just pick up the phone and call. But double check, because, it is easy now, because in the technological world, we're even sending things, through DocuSign or this and that.
Oh, yeah.
And
but we'll always call ahead of time.
Yeah, but these scammers are, they can create these pages that are like landing pages that look just like, the bank that you would go to. So if you click on a link in in an email that is like from your bank, even if you're like, well, I'm going to check and see if this link even takes me to my bank, they'll create these landing pages that'll look the same.
Or the website, like, so check it. That's actually my tip number 2. But like, check the email. So like when you get an email, first of all, the first step is if you weren't expecting it, question it. But then look at the email. So sometimes, so like, let's say for instance, you did get an email from Nova saying, oh, here's your updated portfolio. We need some information. Click here. The email won't be Amy at Nova Wealth Management. It'll be like Amy at Livebox info,
Google, Gmail,
1 2 3 4 87. So the email won't match who's even saying they send the email. So you have to double check where you're getting this from. Same thing with the text messages. I believe you can even Google now, like, I got a text message from number blah, 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 blah. Is this Apple? Yeah. And it'll come up and it'll say, these are the text message numbers that Apple uses. And if they're not on the list, so just start doing your research. The first step is definitely check.
And to that point is checking the email is
slow down. My mother just joined. And I have no makeup on, Mom, and I'm not even like trying to look nice today.
Hey, we're in a quarantine world,
She always calls me and she'll be like, oh, you look so tired. That's the first thing she says to me.
Well, anyway, so in the emails, these scammers tend to be pretty good technologically. They can create these things in ways, use malware, things like that. But they're not usually the best when it comes to grammar and things like that. So read through an email. Usually they'll slip up somewhere. They're trying to do it quick because they're sending it to the masses. They're just wanting a few people that aren't thinking and aren't you doing their process of checking, and then they'll just go through and do it. I mean, I saw even like an ad the other day on Facebook, and it was like something that was selling for, they were using a company that's pretty well known as their picture, but then when you go down the process, it's like, okay, this
it doesn't make sense.
So
so in summary, number 1, if you weren't expecting it, question it. Number 2, double check the source. Like look at the email, see if it matches. Look at the text message number, Google it, see if it matches the company. But number 3 is especially watch out for like chain of events. So like, for instance, this actually happened to me personally. I was on my computer. I accidentally, so if you go to a website and you're like one letter off of the actual website, what scammers will do is, so like, let's say I type in Microsoft.com, but I forget the T at the end. What scammers will do is they'll buy that address, knowing that some people will mess that up. And then you think you're on like Microsoft website, but you really messed up and went to a different website. Then once you're there and you click on something, they'll call you. And this happened to me, and Tamara yelled at me, but the people on the phone said, I'm sorry, ma'am, your computer has been hacked. I need you to immediately punch in this command. And so it was boom, boom. So you have to question things like this. Typically, people will not call you out of the blue and tell you to do something, like unless it's your personal IT company. You know what I mean? Like we have an IT company. We know like the 4 guys that will call us. But it, like random, IBM will not just call you out of the blue and be like, punch this in right now. Just definitely be on alert for a chain of events. Like if it's first email or first text, then phone call. Be leery of that. Sorry. Okay, next one. So other one is the IRS. So because of the IRS stimulus checks, there are a lot of heightened IRS scams. So they'll either text you saying, oh, your stimulus check is ready. Click here, which is terrible because a lot of people want their stimulus check. So they're just preying on desperation, and it's terrible. Or they'll call you and say, hey, we want to deposit this to your bank account, but we don't have all the information. Right? Guys, the IRS will not call you. The IRS does not call you. The IRS communicates via letter. That's really it. Via letter, or they'll send you an email notifying you of a letter that's coming in the mail. But they will not call you. The IRS will not call you and ask you for your bank account information. A bank will not call you. That's another one. Another big one is banks right now. Or not the actual banks, but the scammers will call to pretend to be a bank and say, hey, we got notification from the IRS, your stimulus is ready. We just need to confirm a couple of things before we can deposit it into your account. A bank will not call you and ask you for this random additional information out of the blue. Again, if you didn't expect it, question it. Hang up the phone and call your bank they won't do that. But that would be the first step that
Yeah.
I would take when you're questioning it.
Yeah,
is
hang
picking
up, call the
phone.
bank, and just say,
Right.
"Oh, I just hung up. I think that maybe someone called," and they'll be like, "No, we didn't call you," and then you'll just say, "Okay, great, move on." But they are constantly trying to
Hey, Jose.
be staged as imposters. Basically,
Pedro,
they're
hey,
going
guys.
to, and they've gotten good. They've gotten good about
really good.
the information. They're very kind of like their talking points are very good a lot of times, and so
No, they're very
so you
smooth.
just have to be always cautious. If you let
Right.
your guard down, usually that's where
Yep.
and they prey on fear, like the stimulus check, or during tax season, if you're you need your refund, that
They prey on your urgency, your
Um,
desperation, your urgency. It's really terrible.
Yeah.
So what should you do if you've already clicked on one of these things? What's the first thing that you should do? Well, the first thing that you should do is go immediately to the credit agencies. So Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, and put a heightened alert on your credit report. You should also call the bank and have them put an alert on your bank accounts, because they can actually do that. So then the next time anybody ever goes to transact anything on your bank account, they will have to ask for ID. They will have to ask additional identifying questions to complete the transaction there in person. So definitely first thing you should do if you have done any of these things, again, for those of you joining, we're just talking about a lot of the scams. First thing you should do, if you weren't expecting it, question it. Double check the email that's being sent. Double check the text message number it is coming from. Do not ever give any information over the phone, ever, like under any circumstances. If they called you, hang up the phone. So we're just talking about all these things. Now, if you've done that, if you've given information, if you've clicked on something, what do? The first thing you would do is go to these credit agencies, okay? And this might not be for you, but somebody that you know. So that's why we say, please share this out. Let's get the information out there so people know what to do. But first thing you do, go online, block your credit account, so that next time somebody tries to I have one more big scam. Next time somebody tries to open up a credit line under your name with your identity, the credit agency would actually block it and require much more additional documentation. So will that be a pain for you if you were to then go get a loan? Yeah, but it protects you.
Yeah, it's better than losing everything.
Correct. So here's one more big scam. So businesses that are either restructuring, merging, closing, unfortunately right now, scammers are getting a list of this. For instance, for Florida, it's sunbiz.org, that they're going online and getting a list of these businesses.
Tell Wolfie's joke.
What's his joke?
Remember
Did he comment?
Oh, the Facebook post? Facebook post?
Oh yeah, the Facebook post.
Seriously,
Okay.
tell it.
Okay, I will. This is another one that Jim just came in here and thought of, but doesn't want to get on the screen to tell you. So they're going online, they're going on the Sunbiz, they're finding these old business names, these closed business entities that were just recently closed. And then they're taking all that information, they're trying to call the bank and say, hey, yeah, I needed to reopen that account. We're not closing. If it's been within 90 days, the bank will reopen the account. So then they're trying to transact fraudulent transactions in these accounts. So again, if you have any sort of suspicious activity. In fact, you know what? I would encourage you to go on a credit agency right now and just sign up for alerts about your credit score changing or about additional credit lines. Just in this time right now, it's so crazy. I have that set up that I get notifications when my score changes by more than 10 points out of the blue for any reason. What he's talking about is the Facebook post that he did.
Yeah. So Wolfie is an advisor in our office, and he made a post that everyone now, with everyone being quarantined and things like that, there's all these like games of that's a post, you repost it and you answer all these questions like what's your favorite color or whatever, it's all these things. And so he jokingly made one that said, all right, I don't usually play these games, but let's try this one. And it said, what's your bank account information, your full name, your bank account, what bank you're with, your driver's license
number, I think.
Your driver's license number, your social security number.
Meant to be a total joke, obviously. But
those types of things.
No, but
they happen.
No. I think the result of that was like one of his clients messaged him and said, why do you need this information?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it just, everybody needs to heighten their level of awareness and security. This is super important because we all have to stick together during this time.
And this isn't really like a scam necessarily. It can be, but when you get robocalls and things like that, if you like say press 1 to opt out of that, it actually, the chances are you're going to get more calls that way. You can't opt out over the phone because it's a fake call. So when they say, opt out, it's really, you're just opting into more calls. So you're supposed to report it.
When they robocall you?
Yeah. So if you get robocalls and then you press 1 to like opt out of that robocall, if it's like a sales call, those are illegal. And so they're not like legitimate calls. And so if you press 1 to opt out, you're actually opting in to more calls usually.
I just block them.
Yeah.
So
like
when they come
them
through, especially on an iPhone, I don't know about like different phones, but you can just block the caller and eventually.
Yeah. You can block the caller. There's also now certain cell services are kind of notifying you that it's a
and there's apps. There's different apps.
Yeah, like RoboKiller is one that I use that blocks spam calls. And then with emails, the same thing. If you get a fake email that says like opt out here and you click on it, 1, you're actually adding to more email lists, and 2, it can actually be again those malware. So just be careful when you're, I know that it's like, it seems easy to opt out of something and you just don't want to get the email anymore. Yeah. And a lot of legitimate websites will let you opt out of those things. But if it's a spam type email, then when you're wanting to opt out of it because they're not legitimate, their opt out procedure is not legitimate. So
Jim said that you didn't deliver the joke very well.
Yeah, sorry, Jim. You could have done it yourself.
You could have done it yourself. It is very true.
I mean, it was a funny thing, but it's hard to talk a joke that was written.
So in summary, because we've had a lot of people hopping in and hop off, just share this out because we already went through all the specifics. But just in summary, real quick, if you didn't expect it, question it. If somebody calls you, don't ever give your information over the phone. If there is links sent to you in an email, if you accidentally somehow click on one, don't then also pick up the phone and do what they're telling you to do. Like watch out for chains of events on different scammers. Text messages. We really have to be aware of text messages now. I forgot about this one. I constantly get text message saying, Amy, your cash is ready. Mm-hmm. I didn't apply for any cash, like just random cash, not even like SBA loan, nothing like that. Just saying, Amy, your cash is ready. Don't click on those links, guys.
Don't think you're that lucky that you didn't do something and then you still won. You know, like that, it doesn't happen.
And I know this is a pain in the butt tip, but this is probably my number one tip. Don't save your passwords in your computers, because if they somehow do get in via a link, via an attachment that you clicked on, the first thing they're going for is all your passwords that you saved. So certainly, if you can, don't save them in your computer. That is the number one thing that I think is that they're going for, is to be able to hack into everything. Getting your passwords. All right. Anything else? I think that's it.
I think we're good.
All right, guys. If you have any questions, you know where to find us. Go to novawealthmanagement.com and click on contact us, or you know how to find us just on the website or at our office, 239-444-1794. If you have any specific questions or emergencies, you're welcome to call us.
Absolutely.
I don't know how to end the new live because it's new. It just
says
on
end
Facebook.
live video.
Oh, it's over there
I can
now.
do it.
See, it used to be over here.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye.